Dude, this is it. This is it right here. If they get a wave. You know, and I think that's why we get so many landscape photographs that are just basic. You know, you show up to Glacier Point, you just stick your camera over the edge and you're like, well, this is the view. I look for a photograph that asks something more of me than just showing up.
Welcome to Pack Heavy Chase Light. This is a series from DB specializing in photographers, videographers, directors, and other creatives.
Josh Zucker. I'm Louis Medeiros.
My name is Timothy Myers.
Jag heter Oskar Backe.
I'm Christopher.
Jag heter Benjamin Ortega.
Mitt namn är Ola Stubberud.
For this episode, we have Chris Burkard, and I'm sure that anybody watching this is very familiar with Chris's work. Easy to say he's one of the top outdoors photographers in the world and maybe history, I think. Anyways, he's not just a photographer, he's a super savvy entrepreneur, and he's built one of the go-to media houses for any video projects, photo projects relating to the outdoors. For this episode, we visited Chris Burkard in his hometown of Pismo Beach, California. Welcome to episode 10 of Pack Heavy Chase Light. I think that was it, right?
Chilly. What are we doing? Well, we are out in glorious Avila Beach, going to see if we can't, I don't know, score just a tiny bit of sunlight amidst the rain. So my name's Chris Burkard. I'm a photographer and 35 years old. I've been shooting photos for about 18 years now. Nowadays, my work, you know, sort of takes me all over the world, shooting a lot of action sports and landscapes and commercial work. But I think in many ways, you know, I still look to the ocean for like a lot of that inspiration and a lot of what I like to do. I mean, I think I'd say, if anything, most of what I'm doing involves some level of planning, some level of orchestration. You know, I mean, that by nature of, I think, what I'm shooting now, there's more people, there's more players, there's more things involved in it, right? So because of that, I don't really get the opportunity personally to just go and, you know, rush off somewhere and go on a trip. It's usually like there's, you know, dates to set and flights to organize and this and that, and everything kind of like, you know, has to come together. But I think for me personally, I still look for, when I'm shooting landscapes or when I'm going out and doing something just like a personal assignment, I look for those opportunities to do stuff that doesn't involve all that planning, because I think there's an element of mystery and unpreparedness that's exciting, and you need to give space to that. It's so hard to sleep when you know what could happen. Yeah, everything's new, everything's exciting, everything feels like the first time you've ever seen it. It's pretty rad. Watch out, there's a lot of poison oak out here too. Yeah, don't touch the green stuff. All this is poison oak. Poison oak, not good. Anything green, just touch it. Careful of that, poison oak. Really want to avoid that green plant.
That's these with the leaves.
Yes, the leaves. Don't touch it. So it's what makes it so cool. You're literally in poison oak. I would suggest highly, like, after you're done, taking those pants off and not. Just FYI.
How bad is it?
It's fucked. Wow, what a gorgeous morning. Sky is rad over that way. I'm probably not the best person to ask, but I think in some ways there's this thought process that maybe there's a rigid way to look at landscapes, when really I think that the last 5-6 years have shown us You can interpret it in any way you want. The chances of failure are so high that you're giving so much of yourself, so much of your time, so much of your own energy that I think like it just really gets lost on some people. Look at that, the moon, these clouds, so rad. And makes people kind of give up in some ways. They just have no clue that it's going to require so much of them. You know, they have no clue that it's going to be something that is going to take effort and energy and time and, you know, and I think that's why we get so many landscape photographs that are just basic. You know, you show up to Glacier Point, you just stick your camera over the edge and you're like, well, this is the view. I look for a photograph that asks something more of me than just showing up. Oh, it's crazy. My explore page or whatever it is, like on my Instagram sometimes, and I'm like, man, why is everything that it says I'm interested in like typography or artists? Now there's no photographers on there. Yeah. That's the stuff that I feel like I'm looking for. I'm not, you know, I don't want to surround myself with my art or the art of necessarily other photographers to stare at, because I stare at pictures all day. Like, I guess what I'm getting at is like if I was going to find inspiration, I'd rather pick up like an Architectural Digest magazine than I would like Outside magazine. Wow, the light is so cool. It's got this like dark light. This is like what you dream of right here. I'm pretty OCD only because I feel like I rely upon it a lot, and I think because of that, like it forces me just to be like, I'm definitely like more careful than most people. We're in my gallery. This is the space. This is the front of the office. This is where people can come in and say what's up and check out the artwork and kind of go over, you know, go over things in real life. You know, a lot of what I share online obviously is from this space, and I guess all the magic kind of really happens in the back, but yeah, this is sort of the front face of the business. Packages, piles of free crap. Here is some of the employees, Holly, Hannah, Evan, and my office over there. Big cube. This is kind of like a little meeting space right here. Kitchen, climbing wall. And then as we head to the back, Schlurm, another meeting room right here, where we need like private calls and whatnot. And then we come into here. Basically, this is like just the start of like gear storage. We have a huge area for gear. So we've got, you know, surfing, climbing, you know, cameras, et cetera, all that stuff for different trips. Have a big loading bay, so we can like pull a car in here, load it up, books. Come into the back here, and it's basically just big camera zone, and then all of our, you know, again, bags, sleeping bags, you know, pads, camera bags, whatnot, bunch of skis, and then up here just like all of our merch we sell, books and whatnot. Shipping zone, bathroom, and extra print storage, and that's it, pretty much. Something that I never prepared for, something I never thought about even was the complexities of running, you know, my own media house. Like nowadays, so much of what I get to do is think about the concepts, think about the big ideas, the plans, the projects, the expeditions. And I gotta be honest, like I love it. I love it more than necessarily being the one who's always shooting or being the one who's always, you know, has his hands in it. I wanna think on, you know, what is the overall vision, and being able to work with a lot of talented, you know, editors and DPs and other photographers too for projects has been like incredibly fulfilling. Yeah, easily the biggest thing I've learned from kind of managing my own space and working with people is just how to communicate better, how to be an advocate to bring out the very best in somebody, and how to build them up to hope that they are creating their best work and you're creating your best work. Because truly, when it comes down to it, like you're on a team. And when you're on a team, you operate a lot differently than you would if you're just out in the middle of nowhere, in the wild, you in a backpack, you know, and a camera. It's such a different experience. And I think that that's something that I feel really grateful for, is to learn how to communicate better, learn how to ask for what I want, learn how to bring a vision to life, and to know that it's based upon good collaboration. And that's honestly all it comes down to. It's like I can only do so much on my own, but when I'm working with people who are talented, we can do some really amazing things. One unusual thing I bring with me on every trip, besides anal beads or anal beads. It depends on the trip, you know? Like I think a little med kit goes a long way. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a trip and I'm ski touring and a blister opens up or something like that. So I tend to go a little hard in that direction, just trying to be a little more prepared now. This is most of my life, modifying bags to meet my needs. This entire thing is just buckles that I've kept to try and like make my bags a little better and make them work for me. So the farthest I've gone for a trip easily would be the Kuril Islands. I mean, from home distance-wise, you're that far. It's more like how many flights, how many things did you have to do to get to that place? We had to basically jump on a flight to Russia, do a full carnet of gear, right? Which means you're going to the airport, you're going to customs, you're like telling them everything you're bringing so you're not selling it when you're there. We flew to Moscow. Again, we had to meet with the embassy, and then we basically went to Kamchatka. At Kamchatka, we had to wait a couple days, then we went down to the harbor, got on a boat, and then from there you're on a boat and you're sailing or you're motoring for multiple days, right? To this island chain where like you can go as far as you want or not, but we went the whole chain all the way to Sakhalin. We should hit the road. We should get on it. If I'm gonna go pull up a camera, you know, I feel like there's a lot of other ways to experience nature than through a camera these days. I feel like in some ways I just would rather, if I'm not working, I'd rather just go and have fun, like watch my kids or shoot film, or, you know, it's fun to like process the world through a lens, but it's also really fun to just absorb it and tell a story in some other way, you know, tell a story through standing on a stage or showing a film or directing. Depends on like what the goal is, right? Nowadays. I have like a little Nikon TI titanium, and I have a little Fujifilm, but it's like point and shoot mostly. I have some large format cameras, and I have some other more fun stuff that I'll bust out occasionally, but that's more just like therapeutic, you know? I guess if anything, it's like more of the opportunity to go and just exercise photography without having all of the stress and the repercussions that come from having to actually produce something for a client, right? You know, I think what's so hard about extreme weather is the variability. You can't prepare for anything. And I think that it's funny because it's summarized really well in this saying that they have in Iceland. It's called Theta Retast, which means it'll all work out. There's no way to plan for the next month, the next week, the next year. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know if a volcano is gonna be exploding, if there's gonna be the biggest storm in 50 years or whatever. So you just have to go with the flow. And I think that being prepared for everything is sort of that mantra you have to apply. You have to be able to, in some ways, you know, forecast what might happen. The challenges they're vast. You know, there's so many things from like, are my hands gonna go numb in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes while I'm standing on the beach? You know, did I bring the right equipment, the right gear? It makes you question every single little thing that you brought, wondering if like you made the right decision. And I think that is one of the things I love the most about it is, I don't know, keeps you on your toes, keeps you kind of focusing on the moment, because you really can't let your mind wander. You can't think ahead to like tomorrow, the next day, blah, blah, blah. You're in it. You're in it right there, right then, taking the picture, making the photograph, shooting video, whatever it is. So it takes a certain type of person. It takes a certain type of person to enjoy that kind of challenge. And I'm not saying that it's, you need to be a masochist to love harsh weather, but the joy that comes from creating something amidst and through that chaos is, to me, it's like the most fulfilling thing. It just gives me so much joy. It makes me feel like I really created something, like I made something valuable. And so I think I seek that out. And that's the thing that I get the most excited about.